Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. This picture is funny because my quarantine haircut looks even more off balance. um, so this morning I wanted to talk about music. And I have this theory that I haven't been able to prove in any scientific sort of way. No research I can find supports this. But here's my thinking. So the way that our brains develop when we're teenagers, and even in our early 20s, there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of different hormones flying around. And I believe that the music that's popular and that we listen to most during those years, and also during any other times of big emotional transitions in our life, so where we have kind of the parts of our brain that are very base and very full of emotions, where we're feeling a lot of change and shift and maybe fears or maybe great excitements, where it's kind of like a roller coaster of emotions, like adolescence. I think that the music that we listen to during those years gets embedded in our psyche in a way that other music does not. And so therefore, when we hear those songs again now, several years or decades later, it affects us differently. It pulls us up into an emotional state in a different way than other music, even if the songs are terrible. It doesn't matter. I think movies and other things work this way as well, but music is particularly powerful. And so we can kind of reverse engineer that. We can use music to pull us into a higher emotional state when we need it. It's kind of like a brain hack that we can use because we're so much in the prefrontal cortex, in the top, more developed area of our brains, analyzing things and worrying and anticipating and planning and all this executive functioning action that takes place in the higher functioning, higher levels of our brain. And sometimes it's useful to tap back into the more fundamental, animal emotion levels of our brain if we can do it in a, not a fear-based, but in a joy-based way. And music, I believe, is a way to do that. So, and I even say this in my book, but I still have not done it. And I'm going to use password problems as an excuse. So on my phone and on my computer, I cannot access iTunes or Pandora or any of those programs. There's probably like 7 more now that people use to put together a really cool playlist that I can access and listen to often. So that's going to be on my list this week to figure that out. My excuse for passwords is due to the fact that when we were traveling with the tour, I guess it was because we were just in different locations almost every week. And sometimes I was using, hotel computers or, I was having to change my shipping addresses all the time for Instacart and Amazon and all this stuff. So the computer was constantly telling me, you got to change your password. Who are you? You got to put in your credit card number again. Who are you? I get it was for my protection, but I was like, oh my God, I couldn't keep up with the changes in passwords constantly. So I never figured it out. I never could remember my Apple ID, and I could never remember my iTunes password, or if it was the same dang thing. It was like past my level of ability to deal with it. I could deal with a lot of other things. I couldn't handle it. Anyway, I couldn't fix it in 15 minutes, and it seemed like something I should be able to fix in less than 15 minutes, so then I would just move on to something else. Anyway, sorry for the tangent. But so my message today is about how can we use music, the music that really moved us when we were in adolescence, and use that as a brain hack for us now to get out of our prefrontal lobe and into kind of a core emotional state of joy and lightness, not so heavy. Everything's not so heavy because you're just like, oh, it'll all work out, like the teenagers right now, right? Not all of them, but some of them. So what can you do? Maybe you already have an awesome playlist. Maybe you're like me and have thought of putting one together. Maybe you've always thought, I'm not really that into music. And I would offer, like, try it even so. See, put on a Prince song. See if that doesn't get you smiling and moving. So I would challenge you to put together a playlist if you don't have one. If you have one, but you don't listen to it often, pop some earbuds in and go for a walk this morning and just flood your system, flood your brain with those songs, and try to really keep it to the years, the songs that you remember between like 14 and 24, and see if that doesn't give you a really cool brain hack for lifting your mood and flooding your system with some positive endorphins and neurochemicals. So hopefully that's helpful today. Have a lovely day.